Hey everybody, and welcome to today's News Tonight, the weeknight news show where we're joined by special guests and our lovely patrons to discuss the day's gaming news. I'm your host, Ash Paulson, and today I'm joined, as always, by my good friends and GVG co-founders, Steve Bowling and Derek Bittner, along with our very special guest, content creator slash voice actor slash gaming enthusiast slash overall great guy, and a personal good friend of mine, David Giltinan. David, how's it going, man? Thanks for coming back to join us again.
Ahoy hoy, yeah. Hopefully with less technical difficulties than last time. But yes, I am back and here for more of the good old gaming news.
Have you met us? We're all about technical difficulties here.
Yeah, what does it say about our show that I'm like, I just don't remember that? I'm like, which time was that?
Yeah, there's a couple times.
So what technical difficulties are you talking? We've done so many episodes already. What happened on when you were here the first time?
Well, mainly on my end, really, because I was on my old laptop at the time, and I remember cutting out, and also the fact that I wasn't recording on my end until later, and so I'm sure that caused a headache on Steve's end on the back end, but that's a little inside baseball for the crowd.
You know,
there, right?
I'm just going to point this out. There were days, like, because when we used to have to do a VOD version that we fully edited in Premiere, I always loved the days where someone had a recording problem because I was like, oh, I get to just use the one Discord track
way less
instead of balancing 4 tracks. So honestly, those were like the easy days. I was like, yes, the recording failed. But now we're live for everyone.
Yeah, so it works. And like, crap, we got to put in effort.
If something goes wrong. Yes.
Everything worked fine. This is terrible.
Yeah. Well, David, we're so happy to have you back, man. And what are you playing these days? What are you working on?
Gosh. Well, what I'm playing and what I'm working on are two very different things. But
well, what game are you working on, I should say?
What game? So yeah, as far as like games I'm playing, let me see. I was actually just trying to play Max Payne on Steam, and I didn't realize how much of a headache that was going to be. Because one, it doesn't have controller support, so I was trying to figure out like a third-party software in order to make that work. But also, you can't actually start the game on Steam without some sort of fix that someone came up with. Because otherwise, if you click it, it'll say running, and it won't actually pop up anything. It won't pop up the program. So, yeah, there's a lot of weird issues with Max Payne on Steam. And apparently Max Payne 2 also has some issues, too. So if you're a Max Payne fan and you're looking to play it on Steam because you haven't played it in so long, but you played it on the original Xbox like I did, probably want to do your homework on it before you actually buy it. Just saying. Buyer beware.
Yeah.
Interesting. So playing Max Payne on Steam is a bit of a pain, would you say? Sorry, that was really low.
Wow, that was like such a low-hanging fruit. You just like, yep, that's mine. I'm taking it.
Yeah, I was like, hey, you know what? If it's there, I'm going to grab it, right?
You might need some painkillers afterwards, yeah.
Exactly. So, well, cool. We're just glad to have you back, man. And but of course, we do have some news to get to. But before that, I just do want to remind everybody that because we are streaming this show live to all now, if we do get any super chats during the show, they will be read out between news stories. So never fear if you do get send us a super chat. First of all, thank you for your donation. That's very kind of you. But we are not ignoring you, and we will read out all super chat donations between news stories. But speaking of news stories, I think it's about time we get to the news, right, guys?
Right on.
I'd say so.
All right, let's do it then. Well, let's go ahead and get that first news story up on screen then. And this is the game that will just never, ever, it's never die. It has the longest shelf life ever. Grand Theft Auto 5 and Grand Theft Auto Online are going to be receiving PS5 and Xbox Series X/S versions on November 11th. They're apparently going to be quote-unquote expanded and enhanced and come with as yet unannounced new features. And this, of course, comes by way of IGN. So we don't know exactly what's coming with this new version or these new versions of GTA 5 and GTA Online, but of course, I think we can assume there will be performance enhancements, probably higher resolution. But it sounds like there's some more to this. Do you guys have any predictions on what might be coming to these new versions?
Man.
GTA Online 2? I don't know. It's like, how long has this game been around? Like when I saw the 20th anniversary, I believed my first thought was, oh God, it's the 20th anniversary of GTA
5. Oh God, it feels like it though, doesn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what they're gonna be doing. I would hope for a GTA 3 remake for the 20th anniversary of that game. That's something that I'd really love to see because GTA 3 was actually a really great game for its time. But obviously, the medium has moved on significantly since then. So there's a lot.
It's a bit dated.
Yeah, there's a lot of QOL stuff you could do for GTA 3 that would be very welcome. But I think the story and the voice acting and all of that still holds up.
Well, this feels familiar.
We're back.
Okay, good.
I've changed boxes. I've now taken David's face. Oh wait, no, I'm back. All right, so yeah, GTA 3. I think it could benefit from a facelift. I mean, quite literally in some cases. This is back in the day when people didn't have like fully. We were talking about Max Payne just a minute ago. GTA 3 has that same like photo just wrapped around a face kind of vibe.
Oh yeah.
So seeing those
Really
characters actually modeled would be really cool.
And just to minimize any confusion, we were talking about Max Payne before we went live, just between us. So don't worry if you're watching or listening, you didn't miss anything, or you didn't like black out. You're all good. We talked about it before we went live.
We talked about it while we were live, didn't we?
Yeah, he brought it up.
You brought it up.
That's what he's been playing on Steam.
Oh, right.
Alzheimer's is a hell of a thing, Ash.
Yeah,
exactly. Jeez.
I'm the one losing my mind. Good Lord.
Ash is the one who blacked out.
Yeah, exactly. Steve, you actually brought up the other part of the story there, which was that this is also GTA 3's 20th anniversary.
Oh, sorry, I heard Derek say 20th, and I thought we were talking about GTA 3 now.
Well, it was kind of all rolled into one here because the IGN article covers both of it. So I read ahead, and like I said, as I was reading ahead, I saw the 20th anniversary. I was like, oh God, that's GTA 5's anniversary?
Yeah.
But no, it's GTA 3's.
Thanks, Derek.
Content being added to GTA 5, I don't know what you would do at this point. I mean, they've literally put werewolves in GTA Online. So
I know.
Where do you go? Like, they did aliens, they did werewolves, they did drugs, clearly. So what do you do with GTA 5 that hasn't been done yet? I don't know. I mean,
right.
I can name one thing. They could try to do the Fortnite thing and add in guest characters.
Man, who? Okay, hold on. Though.
I mean,
hold on.
Tommy Vercetti and all them classic.
I was about to say, Rockstar guest characters make a shitload of sense. Any other brand, though, like, what brand manager goes, yes, I would love for my character to be associated with GTA. Like,
I saw someone mention to add Tommy Wiseau like into the game, and I would definitely buy that personally. That would get me back into GTA Online if that was the case.
Tommy, nice. You know what? If Tommy Wiseau would, okay, you got me there.
So DJ Kirschman like reached into my mind and took this in the patron chat. Mortal Kombat characters would definitely work. I mean, they already do really nasty shit to each other. But I love Audoodle's suggestion. Arthur Morgan in GTA just confused.
I love that so much.
Drop him in and he's like, well, howdy, Mr. What?
The time paradox in this case.
Yeah.
That's true too, because he's my I think John Marston is my GTA Online character's father. Like they had a weird thing when GTA Online came out seemingly 20 years ago, and you pick your father, and because Red Dead 1 was a thing still back then, you could choose John Marston as your dad. So yeah, I guess
weird.
Yeah, it's kind of a roundabout weird thing, but
I feel like this is something that might never die because it was so weird. Ray of Sunshine in our live audience patron chat says, "Can we get Bongo from Danimals in GTA 5?" I'd be in for that. So on Monday we talked about So on Monday, for those of you who are like, "What the hell are you talking about?" We talked about how Bongo, the Danimals monkey, literally Danimals Yogurt's mascot, was added randomly to Sonic Dash, and so it's kind of like a running gag now. Let's just get Bongo from Danimals in GTA 5. So, man, like I said, this is the game that will never die. Obviously, it's a fantastic game. I'm not a big GTA fan myself. I kind of fell off after GTA 3, actually. But, this
what if GTA Online added Mega Man? Just saying. What if they added Mega Man for
you? You had me at Tommy Wiseau, man. I mean, look, The Room is unironically one of my favorite movies to watch. So if
it was Tommy Wiseau, but dressed as Mega Man, and he goes, "You're tearing me apart, Dr. Miley."
Oh God, that's cursed, man. I don't know.
Hold on though, Ash. Could you still enjoy Mega Man if he like shot a lemon at someone and it literally blew a hole through their gut? And then he like steals a car and drives it into a group of pedestrians.
Yeah, that's
like jumps out, detonates the car.
Yeah, that's so antithetical to, the character of Mega Man. I don't think I'd really enjoy
Right.
that at all. Yeah.
I don't think of Tommy Wiseau as Mega Man. I think of him as Dr. Light just because of the Mega Man 8 dub. Like
Oh,
that accent fits a
Dr.
lot
Light.
better.
Yeah, yeah. But no,
Yeah, I
so
go
I
after
think
Dr.
I'd rather
Wily.
keep Mega Man out of GTA personally. But Rockstar, as you were kind of hinting at, Derek, they have also promised separately from all GTA 5 getting this upgraded version, quote unquote, more fun surprises are coming for GTA 3's 20th anniversary. Though it is important to note that some of those specifically do relate to GTA Online. So that's no confirmation of a remake or a remaster or anything. Although I am with you guys, and I think you mentioned it, Steve. I would love to see a remaster of GTA 3 because though this might not be the most popular opinion, that's really the only one I've ever been able to really enjoy, and that's the only one I ever played a whole lot of. After that, I just kind of fell off
Nah,
the series, and it's just not my thing.
Vice City is good. Good stuff. I've never beaten a single GTA game, but San Andreas is where I kind of just called it quits. But I remember having a really good time with Vice City.
Yeah, I was
GTA
going to
4
say,
fun too, honestly.
as a person, that loves video game soundtracks as much as you do, Ash, I'm really surprised you never dug into Vice City. It has one of the best.
Well-
I mean, it's all 80s pop culture stuff. But
Yeah, I think that's
You're an
more
80s
than
fan.
Like
damn, the
saying,
music was
yeah.
so good. I
it
love all
was.
the tracks in that game.
No, and I'm actually glad you brought that up because I think it's probably important to point out that yes, like Vice City does have an incredible soundtrack, but I do draw a very thick line, right, between video game original soundtracks, like music composed for the game, and licensed soundtracks, which are also great in their own right. And it takes talent to curate a good selection of licensed music for games. Like I'm not like trying
You're
to
one of those
poo-poo
gaming
that.
soundtrack purists, then, that you wouldn't
Oh,
consider like a
absolutely.
Tony Hawk game to be in the running for a good
Right.
gaming soundtrack. I see where you're coming from, man.
See, well, and I think there should be two, like if you're talking, yeah, good point, David. If you're talking about awards, I do think absolutely there should be two different awards: best original soundtrack and best licensed soundtrack. I hate it when licensed music wins a best video game.
Right, it's
music.
really
the
dumb.
best soundtrack is FIFA 2020.
Yeah, like I hate that shit, right? But I do think that they should both be distinguished for sure. And as you said, Steve, yeah, even though it's all licensed music, it's a fantastic collection of licensed music in Vice City. So, but I'm glad you brought that up because that's a fun discussion to have.
Yeah, I don't think I ever knew that about you. So that is an interesting factoid to find out. Because I mean, I guess it makes sense. Like I do, when I think about it critically, I do consider original compositions and licensed soundtracks to be different categories. I don't.
Right.
I would never put Jump Up Superstar against anything from Vice City, for instance. I just wouldn't compare.
Right, they're just two completely different categories. Yeah. So no, I completely agree, and it seems like most people in our live audience chat also agree, which is nice. So yeah, but all right. Well, shall we go ahead and move on to our next news story then?
We have a couple super chats.
Yeah, before that,
Oh, my bad.
Mike
I
F.
completely missed that.
I was keeping track of these. Mike F. with
Thanks.
a $4.99 donation saying, "Good evening, gentlemen. I started a new Breath of the Wild playthrough and I'm absolutely loving it yet again. Quick question for everyone:
Nice.
GameCube or N64?"
Oh wow, that is as a Nintendo fan, a very loaded question for me. Because I have this deep abiding love of the N64, but I also recognize that it's largely because it came out at just the right time in my life. I was like 15 years old, and as a 15-year-old, I was very obsessive about the things I enjoyed. But I mean, the N64 had a not very good library. But the GameCube,
I'll counter that a little bit, but go ahead.
The GameCube came around at what I would like to call the advent of the modern internet, where I could, sit on IGN and watch Space World coverage, the day it occurred. Like I could digest videos of Star Fox Adventures, hours after they had watched it in Japan. And that to me kind of fueled my love of the GameCube. It is, I think what it comes down to though I would say the standouts on the N64 are games that I love more than anything on the GameCube, I would probably say I like the GameCube overall more as a console.
Yeah. I'm gonna co-sign on that. I love both, but I think that if I had to pick between the two, it would be GameCube. I mean, look, Ocarina of Time, Super Mario 64, Banjo-Kazooie, all among my very favorites of all time, but the GameCube just has a wider range of I hesitate to say classics because to me, calling GameCube a classic console is weird.
Yeah,
But
that's
games that I just
Totally a
love to go
classic
back and
console at
play.
this point.
And I mean, it also has one of my, what's tied for one of my favorite Zelda games, The Wind Waker. It's like my favorite 3D Zelda game. So I can't ignore that. It's got Metroid Prime. It's got so much and so many incredible games. So I think push comes to shove, I'm going with GameCube as well.
Yeah, I didn't own a Nintendo 64. I owned a GameCube, so this is actually kind of easy for me. I own an
there you
N64 now, and I've gone back and since played a lot of the big games that I missed out on, like Banjo-Kazooie, DK64. I have a couple others to get to as well, Paper Mario. But I have more fond memories of the GameCube.
Right.
So,
sorry, go ahead, David.
Oh yeah. No, I was gonna say I guess I'll be the only one who's gonna defend the N64 in this case, which is weird because I absolutely hate the N64 controller. I think it's one of the worst controllers ever made.
Yeah.
So I'll give the GameCube the nod in that department for sure. But in terms of the game library, I will concede that the GameCube has a stronger first-party lineup for sure. But in terms of third-party, I think the N64 kind of edges us out a bit because you're talking about games like GoldenEye, you're talking about games like Perfect Dark, like on the rare side of things. But also, if we're like a wrestling fan like myself, there's a lot of great wrestling games on there. So No Mercy, WrestleMania 2000, WCW NWO Revenge. Those were kind of like the classics, like for me, and those are the games that kind of like kept me coming back to the N64 and going over to friends' houses and just having endless fun creating characters and chasing after made-up championship belts and all that stuff. So yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, and I mean, well, it's funny. I feel like if our dear friend John Cartwright was here, he would probably just pick GameCube by default because you were talking about that third-party support. But I got to say, GameCube does have Resident Evil 4, and that's a really strong one there. And I feel like John would.
The original Resident Evil remake is really dang good as well.
It is.
Exactly.
GameCube version specifically, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Mike, thank you. I love how that turned into a whole discussion itself. And also, Rotten Tanuki with a $2 donation saying, "Woo! I'm so excited. I finally tracked you guys down." Well, we're excited you tracked us down, too. So we're glad you're here, and thank you so much for the donation. We really appreciate it. With that said, let's go ahead and get that second news story up on screen. Okay, so this is actually not late breaking news, but this only broke a few hours ago, and that is that kind of out of nowhere, Injustice: Gods Among Us, aka the original Injustice, is getting an animated movie by way of DC and Warner Brothers Animation. Now, what's really weird about this, though, and this also comes by way of IGN, is that neither DC nor Warner Brothers Animation formally announced this project. Actually, the fact that it even exists was revealed via a press release for something entirely unrelated, which is Batman: The Long Halloween Part 2. And I guess the bonus features on that Blu-ray is they're going to include a trailer for the Injustice movie. So this is the weirdest way to announce this, but hey, DC fans and Injustice fans, if you're getting an animated movie, which is I think pretty cool actually.
I'm so excited for this. Yeah.
Yeah. I read the Injustice comic because my brother was, my brother is a big DC Comics guy, and he insisted when I got Injustice, he's like, you have to read the comic book. It's so much better than the game. And I did. And I remember thinking at the time, I was like, holy hell, this would make an awesome movie. Like, this is the DC movie I want to see because, it involves an understandably evil version of Superman. Like the way he becomes the evil person that he is known as in the Injustice universe totally makes sense. Like it is easy to sympathize with this deeply evil version of Superman. And
the context is there.
Yeah. I desperately want to see this. Anyway, I'm hyped for this, and I'm not usually a DC guy at all.
Everything Steve said, me as well. 100%. I'm excited because of the comics. The comics really lays out the story so well that the game can't really come close to even trying to match. But yeah, if they do anything close to like the comics, that'd be great. And they have to add John Constantine in there because he was an amazing part of the comics too.
Yes.
I've actually heard this said about the comics, which is, I maybe need to check those out at some point because I played some of Injustice. I played more of Injustice 2, but I always heard that the comics setting up the story in the games were really great. And even though I consider myself more of a Marvel guy, I do like DC as well, specifically, Batman especially, I would say. And I found the Injustice games to be compelling. The only thing I would say is that I almost wish this was a movie based on Injustice 2 and its DLC, so we can get the Ninja Turtles in there, because that would be hype.
You already got Batman
fuck,
versus
man.
TMNT. Take your.
That's why, Derek, because I saw that recently, and I'm like, this is the coolest thing. Let's just get them in there with everybody else.
How have you not tracked down those comics yet? Because I feel like they mounted on your wall or something. I don't know.
I need to. I'm not much of a comics guy. I just don't read a lot of comics. The only ones I ever, ironically, the only comics I ever really got deeply into were the Sonic and Mega Man comics.
I was gonna say probably those ones.
About how much of a comics guy I am, right? So yeah, but I've heard really good things about them, and the Injustice comics, that is. And yeah, I think this is really cool news. Again, it kind of came out of nowhere. Really weird way to announce it, but it sounds like we're all pretty excited about it.
I've not read the comics either. I've only I've bought the first game. I can't remember the story of the second game at all. I don't think I ever picked that one up. But DC animated movies, animated in general, tends to be better than Marvel. Marvel never really captured the animated side of things outside of a few examples.
Fair point.
Nobody talks about all the different Avengers animated stuff. I think that some of the like the stuff involving Kamala Khan and recent animated stuff did well, but the one that always stood out to me as the best Marvel animated anything was Spectacular Spider-Man, which should absolutely, only got 2 seasons, but absolutely watch that if you have to watch one Marvel animated show. I didn't even realize they were making a long Halloween movie, so I might have to try to look into that. Otherwise, though, I think I was wondering, like, do we really need an adaptation with the way Injustice is? But if it's for the comics, that makes a lot of sense and could be a lot of fun.
100%.
Right. I do hope that the Long Halloween movies at least are better than, because I know they have a great track record, DC, with animation, but I did watch The Killing Joke on a flight once, and it sucked out loud.
It was bad.
That's one of the rare comics I have read, actually, and I know why it's so respected and beloved. It's a great comic. That movie,
I saw that in theaters. It was
same.
Sorry.
Yeah,
that's worse.
Yeah,
that was
here.
a really bad movie. Yeah.
Yeah, well, mainly because they did change around who Barber's character was entirely from the comic, from the original source material, and that's just it just completely changed her character, made her pathetic in all sorts of ways, and it was just terrible.
Yeah. No, it really did such a massive disservice to the character, and so hopefully Long Halloween is a lot better. And again, this Injustice movie, there's every reason to be excited about it. But before we move on to the next story, we do have a £2 donation from Alan Wilkinson, who says, "Give me the Daredevil in TMNT hand and foot movie."
That would be amazing.
Is that a thing? I've never heard of that.
No, did you not realize TMNT technically takes place in the Marvel universe, because it's heavily implied, because the original TMNT comic was a
like a spoof on Daredevil, right?
A spoof of Daredevil, exactly. Yeah. That's why the stuff the acid that blinded Daredevil is also the same ooze that transformed the turtles, and that's why the ninjas that the Daredevil fights is called the Hand, of course. So that now TMNT fights the Foot.
I didn't know that. That's so wow. I'm learning so much comic history today. This is great. Of course, I know my TMNT lore pretty well, but not as much the OG comics. More everything since then, and that's really cool. Wow.
I didn't know that it went that deep. I understood the hand and the foot. Like, I didn't know all the rest of that stuff. That's actually really cool to find out.
The new TMNT comic run is really, really good, by the way. If you haven't reading it right now.
I've heard about that, but I am stuck on wondering how can the mutagen also be acid? I feel like if the turtles transform,
again,
they just
spoof. Obviously, this is indie comics; they can't go that deep with it. So it's like,
of course, yeah. All right. Well, speaking of injustices, this next news story I think qualifies as the biggest injustice. So let's go ahead and get that up on screen. And unfortunately, Hollow Knight fans, Team Cherry has confirmed that Hollow Knight Silksong will again be a no-show at E3 this year. who the hell knows when this thing is going to show up? Obviously, they're taking their time with it, and I respect that. And I think fans can assume it'll be worth the wait. But man, this sucks, and I'm really sorry for all of you hardcore Hollow Knight fans out there, because it just keeps on just happening. There's just no Silksong. When's it coming? Who knows?
I feel guilty about this because every time I see that Silksong still isn't coming out, in the back of my mind somewhere, I'm like, all right, good. I still have time to beat Hollow Knight before Silksong comes out. I feel like there's this guilt. I'm like, I know I didn't, but maybe I did that with my mind. Maybe I have somehow influenced Team Cherry into not doing it. Like they're keeping tabs secretly on just my copy of the game. And they're like, this guy needs to beat this shit.
Steve hasn't played it yet. I think it's a good hold off on it.
Yeah.
Steve Bowling from this tiny YouTube channel.
Yeah.
I mean, I finally played and beat it. The original Hollow Knight is utterly fantastic. So I get fans dying to see what it is. What Silksong is going to be like. But from what I understand, Team Cherry, and Juan just pointed out, Team Cherry consists of only 3 people. So think of this like really in terms of Cuphead. Like getting that, like, because my God, is it a gorgeous game for only being made by 3 people. I don't know. I mean, it sucks, but I'm not mad because obviously these guys need the time. So it's just what it is.
Yeah, I mean, I think getting mad would be like the epitome of entitlement, right? I mean, they need to take all the time they need to make this game as as good as it can be, and make it so that it matches their vision. And we all win in the end, right? Hollow Knight fans win in the end because it results in a better game. I will say that I unfortunately did bounce off the original Hollow Knight. I totally appreciate it. I played it about 10 hours. I think it's gorgeous, but the mechanics weren't quite my thing, I guess. And so
you and I will have to have a discussion on this.
I know, and I've gotten into it with a few people about it. And I know.
How long did you play?
I played up to the first 2 bosses or so.
It need to be a little bit longer than that, unfortunately.
Yeah, well, I think the thing is though, it's kind of got that Dark Souls-esque mechanic where if you die, you have to go back to your body, and that's just
it's never that. It was really never that bad in the time I played, and the platforming is so freaking just
smooth,
tight, and
no, it is.
Yeah,
it is.
This is some like really, really satisfying platforming.
No, it is.
Yeah.
And that's what's so funny is like I really enjoyed my time playing it, but just for some reason not enough to want to keep playing it. It's not as though I hated it, not even close. I really enjoy the controls and the physics, and the platforming it feels perfect, and the visuals and music, it's all great, but for some reason it just didn't hold me.
My issue was not one of like mechanics or being uninterested, rather that and I say this all the time on this show, there's always other things to play, and Hollow Knight is particularly unforgiving if you have been away from it for some time. And so every time I come back to it, I'm like, I don't know what the hell I was doing, and I don't know where the hell I'm supposed to go anymore. And so I feel like to properly enjoy it, I need to devote my full attention to it. And that is very difficult for me to carve out that kind of time. I don't even know how long it takes to beat the game. Yeah. So it's just...
I know it's a huge game.
Yeah, it could be pretty meaty if you're trying to do everything. Otherwise, it's still on the longer end of Metroidvania type games.
It's the kind of game that you could really get yourself like lost in, and just like really, because like if you are devoting the time to it, it will reward you, honestly, for all that, especially with like the smooth gameplay, like tight mechanics, all the different moves you learn, all the different abilities and all that stuff. All the amazing boss fights that are in it too. Like there's so many other great boss fights they haven't experienced yet, Ash. But I guess like the long and short of it is that we're just trying to make you feel bad for not going through all the for going through like one of the best indie games of all time.
I love to see Ash take on, since he is such a platforming nut, to take on the Path of Pain.
I know all about that. One of my buddies actually
he's a Mega Man fan.
He did the Path of Pain, and he actually won. I don't know, is it like 112% or something? He did everything you can do in the game, literally everything. And he told me about the Path of Pain and just how painful it was.
See, I did the Path of Pain. I did not go for the 100. I think I finished with 107% because I didn't take on the boss rushes because I was streaming it at the time, and I was like, okay, let's move on. I don't need people to watch me bash my head against these bosses until I figure out all their stuff. But as a platformer fan, I was like, okay, I have to conquer this, and it was it was definitely painful, but I got through it in about hour and a half.
Mm-hmm.
So it wasn't
That's not
too bad.
Steve, I think you brought up a really great point there. I actually had to restart. I started Hollow Knight twice now because the first time I played it, I got up past the first boss and then just got distracted and it didn't really grab me. So I played other stuff. By the time I came back to it, I had forgotten where the hell I was, the layout of everything. So I started it again. And, then I played up past the second boss and then again just got pulled away by something else. And I don't want to start it again. It's like it's always there, kind of like, man, I really should go back and play Hollow Knight or really try to just really play it. But I also don't want to start over again because I'm worried that it might not grab me again, and then the cycle repeats.
The
right?
the one bit of encouragement I'll give you to try it again, Ash, is that you now own an OLED TV, and that game utilizes a lot of black in its color palette, and it looks breathtaking on an OLED.
I bet
just
it does.
because of that. Oh, there we go. He's back. All right. So I saw it and I was like, I'm split between two boxes. Oh God, the pain, the unending pain.
No, that's true.
But yeah,
now that I have an OLED, yeah,
having an OLED is deeply helpful to enjoying like the visual presentation of that game. And it is one I go back to like every now and then. I actually have not tried it on the new one that I have, so I may be diving back into Hollow Knight sometime soon here, just because it is, for me, just because of its use of color and its presentation, like a showcase game for a TV like this.
Right. And if I do, I might even have to like double dip on it because I have it on Switch, which is, that's fine. But if I want to play it on my TV, I imagine probably, other platforms have it in 4K, I would think.
Yeah,
so
that's a good
my
point.
guess.
I may have to actually double dip at some point and get it on PlayStation or something. One thing I want to point out, Anna Ziska has said this in the YouTube chat a few times, and I agree with it 100%. Patience is really key here. We've mentioned Team Cherry is a small team. It's 3 people making, a really gorgeous and mechanically incredibly rewarding game. So, I'm willing to sit back and wait because I hope that this, the long amount of time we've been waiting means that they're not crunching on this game, that they're working reasonable, normal, healthy person hours. And so I do not want to be sitting here like, where's my damn game? But, I want them to do it in a way that they're not losing time with their families, sacrificing their health or mental well-being to make a fucking video game. I can wait.
Exactly.
Well, being a team like as small as that, I mean, chances are they might not be putting themselves through that. I want to believe that's the case, but we can't know for sure, obviously.
Yeah.
Right. Evernight Studio does point out in the YouTube chat though that there is a part I would hate, and I guess there's a section in Deep Nest where spiders crawl across the screen. And see, now you're making me think I don't.
Yeah, you would not enjoy Deep Nest.
Maybe I shouldn't go back and play this, especially not on an OLED in 4K. I don't need OLED deep black 4K spiders crawling across my screen. I think I'm good on that.
I feel
yeah, but Steve, really well said. The team should take all the time they need. Certainly not worth sacrificing their mental health for, and it'll get here when it gets here. And odds are that when it does, it'll absolutely have been worth the wait. So I think that's a good note to wrap up on. So let's go ahead and get our next news story up on screen. And this is an interesting one. So Sony has filed a patent for it's like a system that allows live betting on eSports matches, potentially using anything from regular money to Bitcoin to in-game items. And on the face of it, I don't love the way this sounds, but also, gambling itself isn't a bad thing. I'm not anti-gambling. It's just something about this rubs me the wrong way. But it is, of course, important to note, though, as the IGN story also points out, that lots of things that are patented never make it to being an actual product. So this may never happen, but it also may. And I'm curious to hear all your thoughts on this.
I mean, go ahead, please.
Yeah. I just want to kind of quickly say that it's just kind of funny to me that this is going through when there was all the hullabaloo over like loot boxes and like the percentage chances to get like certain rare stuff, and that's considered gambling in certain countries, namely in China. Yet Sony is openly doing this whole gambling mechanic, at least the patent for it anyway. And again, with what Ash said, who knows if that'll come to be, if that'll actually come to fruition, whatever. But it is very interesting how that all played out, considering the recent news with loot boxes.
Yeah, I don't
Yeah.
think that this is going. I don't think anything's going to come of this, because as much as Sony is their marketing is definitely geared towards adults, they recognize, they have to, that children own PlayStations. Lots of kids, lots of underage
I would
folks.
think.
And I can't imagine Sony being keen to be associated with what is, I mean, it's not even implied gambling. It's just straight up gambling. Like,
Yeah.
I could see, I almost feel like this is almost a patent that exists so that they can later collect royalties from someone that does do it. Which,
Yeah.
I mean, sounds like patent trolling, but I mean, we've said many times, corporations don't really have a whole ton of morals. You know, they're not known for their fucking scruples. So I could see this being an attempt to cash in on someone who does eventually go this route. It just seems. Oh, go ahead.
Especially with the cryptocurrency, what's the cryptocurrency craze that's going on right now. Yeah,
I do not see Sony being like, "Yep, we're getting into Bitcoin on your PlayStation." Like, it all seems so weird,
especially with it crashing recently, and like it's never steady. It's really dumb. It really just seems like future proofing. Like maybe this will happen, but there's so many things against it. Whether it's the country's outlawing gambling, outright not having gambling, or just the bad kind of look of it. To like, I'm gonna bet this in-game item and lose it. Crap, that sucks.
There goes all my Dogecoins.
Yeah, exactly. It just seems like a really dumb system in place. However, Chad has been kind of going nuts, and I've looked into this.
Yeah.
And
there's
something else that got.
I've got it loaded and ready to go.
I do too.
News,
bring that up, Steve.
All right, I am throwing this on screen right now.
We have a plot synopsis for the Sonic 2 movie that
Yep,
just came out during the show.
All right,
And
here we go.
like you're getting it on screen.
Do you want me to rattle this off?
I have it on screen.
Okay.
No, I got it, Steve. I got it in front of me. So, yes, breaking news. The Sonic 2 plot synopsis has just been released, and it is as follows. After settling in Green Hills, Sonic is ready for more freedom, and Tom and Maddie agree to leave him home while they go on vacation. But no sooner are they gone when Dr. Robotnik comes back, this time with a new partner, Knuckles, in search for an emerald that has the power to both build and destroy civilizations. Sonic teams up with his own sidekick, Tails, and together they embark on a journey to find the emerald before it falls into the wrong hands. Directed by Jeff Fowler and starring Jim Carrey, James Marsden, and Ben Schwartz.
So it's Sonic 3 and Knuckles.
There's a lot to unpack there.
Yeah, I mean, Sonic 3 and Knuckles, and
Super Sonic. It's definitely Super Sonic. I mean, come on. Okay, not all the Chaos Emeralds. There's going to be a Chaos Emerald, but we're seeing Super Sonic. Come on.
Yeah, I mean, it's probably the Master Emerald, what they're doing. Basically, this is the plot I'm pretty sure all of us thought it would be.
Yep.
More or less, yeah. It definitely hits all the major beats I figured the Sonic 2 plot would. And as I've said before, sign me up. I was already hyped for this movie. I'm even more hyped now. I just, as you said, Steve, Super Sonic. We got, a hint of just a sliver of how cool on-screen Super Sonic could be with the finale of the first Sonic movie when he's like supercharged with electricity and stuff, and that was awesome. But I want to see proper Super Sonic, right?
Yep. Let's go. Let's go. I want this in my life. I wonder if he's going to be... No, he has green. He'll have the red eyes, like the red eyes from Sonic Adventure.
He has to.
He has to.
So.
Yeah. I do have to point out.
Is Metal Sonic going to appear? That's the real question.
I don't think so. I think that's too much to put in one movie.
I don't know, especially if Knuckles change sides. You got to have it's Knuckles and Sonic teaming up to take on.
You know what though? But is Metal Sonic a big enough foe for Super Sonic to have to take on?
He usually is. Like, at least it's
I'm
like a CD
hopeful
game.
for like what was Eggman's mech from Sonic 2?
Oh, the Death Egg robot?
Death Egg robot.
Yes, I want the Death Egg robot. That's what I want.
I honestly don't expect a Death Egg until Sonic 3, just because that's such a big concept all of a sudden.
Well, I don't want the Death Egg. I want the robot. I just want
specifically the Death Egg robot.
Tease for Death Egg in the next movie.
Death Egg. Because that is amazing.
Yeah, I mean, Super Sonic or Metal Sonic could potentially be a decent foe for Super Sonic, but maybe not. It's hard to say because the only time they've ever fought, to my mind, that I can remember is Sonic Heroes, and that's kind of an evolved crazy form.
Right, like
No, Supersonic's on his Sonic CD.
No. I mean, like Metal Sonic. I mean.
Oh, just fighting Sonic period.
but that's my point. Is like Metal
Sonic
Sonic has
Super
always
Sonic
been
specific,
positioned as an enemy for regular Sonic, and then there's some bigger threat
Yeah.
that Super Sonic has to take on.
Right.
For a lot of the games, your supersonic boss fight is still Eggman, just in a different robot.
Oh yeah,
So
I mean,
it's so I think the argument's kind of moot. And as Electric Video Gamer point out, Metal Sonic, not specifically Metal Sonic powering up with the Master Emerald too, but what was it?
Right.
There's Metal, Silver, and what was the third one in Sonic 3 that actually powered up as well? That was
Mecha Sonic.
Mecha Sonic. That's it.
Yep.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So just pull from Mecha Sonic and bam, you got
Yeah.
Super Sonic versus Metal.
you know what? I
Super
take it
Metal
back.
Sonic.
some form of Metal Sonic doesn't Robotnik have one of Sonic's quills?
He does.
Well,
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
he did. Yeah,
He uses that shit to make Metal Sonic. I
Oh, yeah.
guarantee it.
He is
It's possible.
Callback to the
King
first
Metal
movie.
Sonic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I wonder if the emerald they're searching for. I wonder if it's just going to be called the Chaos Emerald, or if they're just going to skip the Chaos Emeralds and call it the Master Emerald or something like
I'm
that.
gonna bet it gets called the Chaos Emerald. I just have
That's
this
what I'm
feeling that
thinking,
that's
too.
like artistic
Yeah.
license, and they're gonna just call it the Chaos because it sounds cooler.
Right. It
And-
definitely does.
Yeah, and
Unless
They
they
can
pull like, kind of like an Avengers.
confuse
like, where,
people like, why is there a red emerald?
yeah.
Right.
Well,
Yeah.
you know, like unless they pull like an Avengers kind of thing, like where they call the Cosmic Cube the Tesseract, and they call the Chaos Emerald like the Chaos Gem or something like that, and they
Yeah.
use the Chaos Gem as a way to make Metal Sonic or Metal, or like Sonic himself takes the the gems, emeralds, whatever the Gemeralds, to become Super Sonic in this
Gemeralds.
case.
Yeah.
There's a lot of different ways that this can go, and if it is better than the first movie with less with less advertisements in it, then I'll be on board with it.
Right.
yeah,
To answer a question in our live audience patrons chat by Rob Arman X saying, I'm so pumped for this, but I wonder, are Tom and Maddie really not going to be in the movie at all? I'm not complaining, but it's interesting they
Well, they're
built up
in there.
Sonic and Tom's friendship.
You mentioned it in
and
the
then
synopsis.
Small note or
Yeah.
two. Well, they're not only are they in the synopsis, but we've already seen set photos of Tom and Maddie's characters, or Tom and Maddie filming. So
There you go.
yep.
They're
so
totally
gonna
gonna
be
get pulled
they're
into it.
definitely going to be in the movie. They probably come back from their vacation when they find out that Robotnik's back or something.
Or through the big ring thing or whatever. Yeah,
Right,
totally.
exactly.
Mm.
But man, I'm so excited for this movie.
Yep.
Man, so excited.
I never thought that
Um,
we'd be hyped for a sequel to that movie when we saw the first poster.
Right? Me too.
know.
And I do wonder now
What a
with
change.
we know they're obviously well into filming, and now we have this plot synopsis. I wonder if this means we'll be seeing a trailer pretty soon or soonish.
I don't know.
Maybe.
I sure hope
Yeah,
so.
I
think we did see
imagine
a
so.
poster. I think we saw a poster though, right? Like the poster was like riffing on Sonic 2's cover art.
I
I
saw
think
Sonic
the
2 game.
logo, I think. Did we see a poster?
Did we?
There was a fan
Might have been
made
a fan-made.
poster. There's
Yeah,
a
I think it
fan
was
made
fan-made.
poster
Oh,
that
okay,
is
fan-made.
that is a riff on Sonic 2's box art. Yeah.
Yeah,
With, like,
it got
Robotnik
around, but like,
crushing
it
the
looks
numbers.
really cool though. It looks really great.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think we've probably said everything we need to about the PlayStation esports gambling or Sony esports gambling story as well. But to go back there for a little bit, we do have two new super chat donations to read out, and the first one is by Sketcha MPM, who donates $4.99. Thank you so much, saying, "Look, it's Parappa. He's back in NFT form."
Oh no.
Shock me now.
No.
Just why would you even say that? I'm so tired of hearing about cryptocurrency and NFT anyway, but don't come for Parappa, man. You don't come for Parappa. You give him a love.
I will say one thing about NFTs, and I have zero interest in them. They can fuck off right to hell. But a very talented artist that I follow on Twitter that goes by Naked Cherry just sold one of her drawings that helped kind of launch her platform for like $20,000. Somebody bought it, and I was like, "Wow, damn, good for you!"
Wow.
Like, I'm happy for the artists that can make insane amounts of money doing this. But man, I'm never doing it. Like, I heard somebody sold like the Charlie Bit Me video. Like,
The person
what
who
is
Charlie bit
happening?
me, yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
Also, like the lady who is like the little girl in the picture with the house burning behind her.
Oh,
She's
yeah.
like smiling to the,
Uh-huh.
to the
Oh,
camera.
I
or
heard.
whatever.
Yeah. Yeah.
She like sold that for I don't know, for a godly amount of money. I forget.
I mean,
how
what
much.
does that even mean though? Like, is somebody going to copyright claim people memeing on the internet now? Like, I don't understand
Everything
it.
is fair game now. It seems with as far as like NFTs are concerned. Yeah.
Oh God.
I hate this.
How
Yeah.
much is dick butt worth? That's what I need to know. How much
Actually,
money do we
that's
have to
going in
scrape
anyway.
together to own
He's ready to
dick
open up
butt?
his wallet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You kidding? If I could buy
well,
dick butt, I would. I don't know what I'd do with it after that.
Jeez.
Or maybe like the
Oh,
gif of the
man.
Ooga Chaka baby or something like that.
Yeah,
Oh,
exactly. I want to own the
Um,
old GeoCities like under construction GIF that everyone used on their website.
Oh, that brings me back.
Don't be surprised, Steve. Don't
Holy
be surprised.
crap. Yeah.
It will happen.
We do also have another super chat donation by Mwape Mulinga, who donates $5. Thank you very much, saying Super Saiyan Sonic, let's go. Yes, we are all in agreement with you here, man.
Yep.
Thank you so much for the donation. And yeah, we are all super hype about the idea of Super Sonic on the big screen. So
Hold on.
thank you again.
I have to read this out from our patron chat. Rob Arman X's roommate has a dick butt tattoo. I just
But the question
Of
is
course
where?
they do.
I need proof. I need proof. I need visual confirmation of this for the post show. Rob Arman X, you know what to do.
Well,
All right,
it depends on where that tattattoo is.
Yeah.
so-
Sorry,
so,
within
you know.
limits. Oh God,
Yeah.
he's gonna DM me. All right.
Oh, exciting!
Context is needed.
Exciting. By the way, we have a like an ongoing thing going on in our patron chat where our resident Mega Man superfan 112 is like, "Oh, this is not the story I'm waiting for," and people are like, "What's the story you're waiting for?" Don't worry, 112, I got you. I know the story you're waiting for. However, that's not what this next story is. So let's go ahead and get that up
Wow,
on screen.
what a disappointment.
No, it's coming though. It's coming. It's it's a slow burn, but it's going to be worth the wait. So this is a weird one. So there has been a new amiibo announced of Zelda and a Loftwing, and it's going to come out alongside Skyward Sword HD on July 16th, and it's going to cost $24.99. So it seems as though the amiibo is going to be a bit bigger than most amiibo are, which might account for the higher price. But here's the thing: it does look beautiful. It's a cool looking amiibo, I think. But it does seemingly lock a feature, or there's a feature locked behind having the amiibo, and it's one that really is a quality of life feature that I think should be in the game, period, for everybody. And that is that using this amiibo in the game allows you to instantly travel between the sky and surface, regardless of where Link is at the moment.
It's quick travel.
It's fast travel. I'm sorry, but this just fucking sucks, man. Like, amiibo are cool, and I'm cool with certain features being tied to amiibo, but this is something that is just straight up player convenience. It's a quality of life feature over the original version of the game, and it's locked behind a $25 figure. That, even if it was a $15 figure, like most amiibo are, or whatever, 14, 15, that I still would have a problem with that. But man, I don't like this.
Yeah, I'm torn on it because I'm definitely buying this amiibo.
I've already pre-ordered it.
Yeah, I have every other Zelda amiibo. This isn't going to be the one I skip. It like you said, Ash, it looks really cool. And I do like the idea of more premium amiibo in the sense that some of these figures, especially for series that I care about deeply, like Zelda, I want bigger, more detailed amiibo for those.
Sure.
I agree with you though. Locking something like fast travel behind it, man, that's indefensible.
That's sort of been always the tricky thing about amiibo, because you, at least back when they first came out, you wanted something useful out of these amiibo, that they did something that felt worthwhile, but you also didn't want them to be too useful, or else you feel like you're getting ripped off in the game itself. And we see that in full force here with this Zelda amiibo, and I don't know how to fix it, because it's not the first time they've done this. Like the whole fusion mode difficulty in Samus Returns was locked behind the Metroid amiibo, and apparently that's really hard to find now.
That is also one of the coolest amiibo ever.
Right? Yeah, it looks cool. You're going to do that. I don't know why. I don't know how to fix this. I mean, obviously that functionality should be there as an option, because having that quick travel between the land and sky, even out of dungeons, is really nice and would help a lot of people with the pacing for that. But
Yeah,
There's no good answer to this one. That said, I've completely bought into it. Amy and I looked at each other, like, yeah, we're buying this. So as soon as I saw it was up for pre-order, I did it.
yeah, that's I feel like some folks in the chat mentioned that it'd be okay if it gave you like early access to fast travel, like if there was an item you could get later in the game without the amiibo. If it was something where it was just, oh, you can do this in the game, but this lets you do it a little sooner, I'd be fine with that. But the idea that an actual feature is just completely locked behind a physical item, that's the other key, is that not necessarily that Nintendo is paywalling this, which I don't necessarily love, but the fact that it's paywalling it behind a physical item that not everybody can just buy. I mean, if you want to charge me, if you want to charge me $3, $5 to just get fast travel, right? I'm not going to love it, but at least I can just, anyone with the game can access that feature for an amount of money. But $25 for a physical item, not everybody has a GameStop nearby. Not everybody can get Amazon deliveries easily. Not everybody has the time to hunt these things down too. They get sold out on pre-orders. I'm still trying to get the Zelda Joy-Con for fuck's sake. So, I mean, it just speaks to the fact that this is kind of like a tone deaf idea. You know,
Yeah, I mean, if we're being like honest here, like Nintendo's not exactly known for being very fan friendly, honestly. You know, with what they sell to fans and how they treat fans in general. I mean, you know, you look at how they treated with Smash tournaments, for example, in the past, things like that. You know, I'm not really too surprised that they're gonna pull something like this, but they could very easily just wash this away. You know, to take away any ill will if they just have the actual fast travel as just free DLC. You can just download it when the game comes out, whatever. And if you want the figure is cool too. It has all this detail. It's bigger than most amiibos, whatever. That's why it has a higher price point. But also you could use it to also access this thing in a cool, unique way, whatever. Just do your fans a service for once and just give them that at least. That is really done to walk away a quality of life thing. You know, if it's a cosmetic thing, fine, whatever. If you want to make your what is it? If you want to make the Loftwing, a different look or whatever. If you have a unique skin maybe for the Loftwing, that'd be cool. To add as a unique thing to this amiibo, they can only access that way. But otherwise, the quality of life thing, that's a step too far.
Or maybe unlimited boosts with the Loftwing or something like that. That'd be
something that is a little tweak to the gameplay that's fun if you have it, but isn't something that's so quality of lifey, right? And I've mentioned this before, but I'm player convenience is huge to me. I'm a huge proponent of respecting the player's time. The older I get, the more I realize, you know what, I don't have time to just piss away grinding or doing busy work in games. I just don't have time for it. Not like I did as a kid, right? And so I firmly believe that games should go out of their way whenever reasonably possible to respect the player's time. And this is the exact opposite of that. It's only respecting your time if you want to cough up $25 plus tax for this amiibo. And this just so rubs me the wrong way.
Yeah, I was inspired by where was it? Sir Stuffle, I think. Here we go. Sir Stuffify, I think it's how you pronounce it. Sorry. For a functionality that would make people even madder if they added in. Let's say we got a Girahim or a Demise amiibo, and it unlocked the ability to just skip past the imprisoned boss fights.
You know what? That they could charge a decent amount of money for that. I probably would buy that because god damn, I hate that boss fight.
You don't like being the Demise's podiatrist? I don't get it.
And the fact that you have to fight that stupid thing 3 times. Look, Skyward Sword, I'll defend a lot of it. I like a lot about Skyward Sword, but there's stuff that really is just so indefensible about that game at the same time, and that is one of those things. God, what a horrible fight. And again, 3 times you have to play that horrible. Just thinking about it annoys me. With that said, we do have another super chat from Nathan Eisler. For $5, $5 US. Thank you so much. Saying Wind Waker HD had a lot of new features that were just in the game. Yeah, exactly. And this kind of reminds me of Twilight Princess HD, where you had to have the I think it was the Ganondorf amiibo to unlock a harder difficulty, and that it's kind of like that too. It's like Twilight Princess. One of the problems was that it was already way too easy, and it would have been nice just to have that in the game and not locked behind a figure. At the same time, though, like amiibo are kind of a weird concept in general because I imagine it must be very difficult to find that sweet spot, right? Of having, you want to add value to the amiibo and give people who own the amiibo exclusive features, but you can't give them exclusive features that are too good, I guess, or too intense, or have too much to do with the base content of the game, because then you're locking everybody else out of that content.
Hold
Go
on.
ahead.
I have to point this out as somebody who owns hundreds of these stupid things. I have never once, and mind you, I know that, I all of us get a lot of free stuff from game companies. I have almost never got free amiibo, and so that means I've bought all this stupid amount of amiibo that are hovering over my head right now. I've never bought them for what they do in a game, ever.
No.
Ever. I have always bought them because I'm like, character cool, buy toy. Like,
same.
I don't know what 90% of them do. I have no clue.
Yeah.
I buy them because
Very
I
simple
love
concept,
the games
Steve.
they're from.
No, that's a great point. I mean, that's why I own all the Smash.
I am a total mark for these things.
The only amiibo that I can remember getting from Nintendo, ironically enough, was the Metroid amiibo.
Yeah.
The squishy one. So I have two. Because I already pre-ordered. I was like, oh, all right. Which kind of works out apparently, because I saw that it's like $130 now. So it's like, geez. I'll just keep holding on to that as it gets rarer.
Nintendo sent me the same squishy Metroid. They sent me the other, I believe there's another Samus Returns amiibo, like Samus Crouching.
Oh, Samus Crouching, yeah.
I have that one. They sent me those. And then they sent me Wolf Link, which I already had because I had bought the Twilight Princess Collector's Edition that came with it. So when Breath of the Wild came out, they sent me a Wolf Link amiibo with that. I was like, cool, I guess. And to be fair, though, if we're making the case for things in a game that strike that right balance between kind of like DLC and buying a physical good, Wolf Link is, in my opinion, the perfect example of how to work that in. You scan Wolf Link, Wolf Link appears in your game. That's dope. I love that. It makes sense that Wolf Link the character would be locked behind Wolf Link the toy. I'm okay with that. Like, you want Wolf Link, who is absolutely unnecessary to your progress in Breath of the Wild, to come hang out with you and find you apples or whatever, then cool. You got to buy the $12 Wolf Link toy. And honestly, if that's how they worked across the board, like, oh, hey, I want Toon Link to join me in this game, I guess I got to go buy a Toon Link toy for that. That makes a lot of sense, and I don't even need to guess at what the hell they do. I don't know why it's not that way.
I mean, Super Mario Maker had it the right way. You could grind out the way to get all those characters, or you could just scan them.
Oh, God.
Nice.
How did perfect way to do that? Yeah.
How did Super Mario Maker 2 screw that up? How did they not just copy that?
Yeah.
Like,
that was dumb.
Come on.
That was one of the weirdest things about that game. And I like Mario Maker 2, but losing all those really cool character costumes was such a bummer, man. And they should have just brought that back. And I think, there are other examples of games that do it well. I think Mega Man Legacy Collection does well. It's just, the Mega Man amiibo unlocks a few extra challenges, like 5 or 6 extra challenges, which are not at all like really significant content, but they're there if you want them, right? And there's also the Shovel Knight amiibo, like the Shovel Knight plus the 3-pack of Spectre Knight, Plague Knight, and King Knight. They unlock like fairy familiars. They can give you a little assistance and do cool things during the game. And I think also unlock extra challenges for each character. But again, nothing super, super significant. And so there are games that do it well. Skyward Sword HD, though, isn't appearing to be one of them. But I will hope that maybe this is a feature that is in the game and that the amiibo just lets you unlock it early, but I'm not going to hold my breath.
Yeah, I'm hopeful. Oh, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, like, it might be something that Nintendo's just, like, testing out and maybe just kind of see what the reaction is like. And I guess if there's, like, enough of a negative reaction, they might reverse course on it. But until then, if there are enough people like you guys who are pre-ordering as soon as it's up, they might not even care. So we'll see.
Yeah.
Right. Well, before we move on, we actually have another super chat by Rotten Tanuki with a $5 donation saying Metroid tease in issue number 3 DC and Fortnite crossover comic. Mind blown. That is weird. What?
I just searched for this. I just put the article into the green room, so you guys can see it yourself. just to see what it's like. And it is, I don't know if this is a tease. This feels more like an Easter egg.
Let's see here.
Because it's just literally Samus's very astute outline in the background in brown.
Oh, okay. So that could just be an Easter egg.
Yeah, I think that's more of an Easter egg than anything.
Yeah, I'm gonna say that that's not directly a tease. I agree with you, Derek. That's I mean that's like throwaway stuff. It could be because as we know from the Epic versus Apple court case that they pursued getting Samus into the game, it could have been that the artists were privy to this when this comic was in production, and then they just kind of like quick, take an eraser to her. She's not going to be here. But yeah, this to me isn't an implicit tease that Samus is going to be coming. If anything, Easter egg for sure, like 100%. Only eagle-eyed people would spot that.
Rob Orman X points out that she is next to Ryu and Chun-Li.
Oh, well then, yeah.
Who are in the game, so...
Yeah, who are in Fortnite.
Which is still amazing to me that they are in the game and that they can hold guns and shoot and stuff like that.
I know, right? I mean, and we also know from the, the Epic versus Apple court case, some of those leaked Fortnite characters that never actually made it into the game. Samus was one of them, so maybe there are still plans to make that happen.
Maybe.
Who knows?
I mean, they definitely have the money to buy Nintendo off on this one, so...
Yeah.
Yeah. But thank you for the donation, Rod Tanuki. And we have another super chat by Black Ninja with a $2 donation saying, this amiibo is the only one the game will work with, of course, referencing Skyward Sword HD. And yes, I do believe that they have said that the Loftwing Zelda amiibo is the only one compatible.
Which,
with,
again, is very weird. As someone who has them all, there are a lot of Zelda amiibo out there.
Well, that may have been a nice kind of like, again, this I do think that the fast travel should just be in the base game, but that may have been like a nice partial mea culpa if they had made it so that any Zelda amiibo unlocked that feature, and it didn't make it exclusive to just that one almost $30 figure. So that might have been a nice middle ground, but. Yeah, either way, that's just something that should have been in the game.
To be fair, though, and this is something from my years of covering Nintendo, Nintendo is awfully opaque about how amiibo work with specific games, and with every single Nintendo game I've reviewed where I've gotten this whole collection down and scanned them, I always find at least 2 or 3 that do something that Nintendo just didn't publicize at all. So it is entirely possible that one of the very many Zelda figures that are already out could possibly trigger this, and Nintendo just won't tell you because they want you to go buy that figure.
It's like an Easter egg kind of thing, right? Exactly. Like you have to discover it on your own in that case. So in that case, I do actually like that because it kind of brings you back to the old NES days, for example, like when there was a secret in the game that no one discovers until 20 years later or something,
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
Well, as it turns out, locking a quality of life feature behind an amiibo for Skyward Sword HD isn't the only unpopular thing Nintendo did this week.
Real quick, another one is $5 donation from X Diamond X90. Thank you so much, saying, "Hey guys, finished the semester. I'm so happy to finally chill with you all again. Great to see you." Well, welcome back. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Thanks for catching that, Derek. I appreciate it.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, on to the second unpopular thing Nintendo has done this week. So let's get that up on screen. And this is funny because Nintendo has made a big deal of the fact that now there are over 100 games on the Nintendo Switch online servers between NES and Super NES, and they just announced the latest update, bringing the total to 104. And they're interesting additions. So we got 4 new Super Nintendo games: Joe and Mac, Magical Drop 2, Spanky's Quest, which is that name, and Super Baseball Simulator 1000. As well as 1 new NES game, which is actually Japan exclusive, and that's Ninja Jajamaru-kun. So, yeah, but here's the thing. Japan gets Fire Emblem Genealogy of the Holy War. So,
I was making this joke, actually, to someone earlier, when that was, revealed, actually, since, me as a retro gaming guy, I know that, but... so I was making the joke that Japan, the cultured Japanese get all the really cool RPGs for their retro game releases. Meanwhile, the stupid Americans get all the caveman games.
Well, that's right. Yeah. And Look, I think I played a little bit of Joe and Mac back in the day. I don't think it's a terrible game from what I remember.
Wasn't
but-
Joe and
not a
Mac
bad game.
already
Not bad.
on the Switch Online, like, or was it Joe and Mac 2? Because I could have swore that like there was
I
already a
think
Joe
Joe
and Mac
2
game.
came out first, but there was another caveman game that came out not
a
too long
different
ago.
caveman game. Yeah.
Okay.
And then
Caveman
there's. I will say though, as 112 points out in our live audience chat, Spanky's Quest, just from what I saw in the Nintendo Switch Online trailer, does look pretty wild, and it seems like a game that might be worth checking out. But
It's actually a
you
fun
know,
game. I will say that.
I
Is it?
mean,
Okay, fair enough.
I will say about these picks is a lot of times it's just like it's the weird games you might not pick up naturally yourself and might find some classics that you're kind of into, but it's not the big ones everybody wants, and that's the problem.
Yeah.
Right.
It's just such
yeah.
a weird thing with, we say this every time. I feel like every time they announce new Switch Online games, we come back to this well of like, how are they
Why?
choosing these games? Like, is it
Yeah.
like, do they just go to the saddest, most depressed person at NCL and just say, what games would you like to put on for the fans?
Because wasn't last month like Tough Enough or some weird like fighting
Yeah.
game that was on?
Yeah.
Hey punk,
I
you
can't
tough
remember.
enough?
I can't remember which games it was, but yeah, there was like a weird fighting game, and here's the thing though, it's not as if they're always disappointing. Like we've gotten all 3 Donkey Kong Country games in the course of this service, but it's funny because every time this happens and it's not in there, Earthbound starts trending on Twitter. Like, where's Earthbound? And not only that, but Super Mario RPG, and that, to be fair, might be an issue with Square. Who knows?
I feel like the
But-
day that they add Mother 3 onto this Nintendo Switch e-service will be the day that Twitter just crashes.
Yeah.
I feel like that will be the day.
The day they add Mother 3 localized into anything, however they do it, Twitter
And
will
Terry
crash. The
Crews
internet will crash.
called that out too, remember? I don't know if you saw
That
that.
was so
Oh, yeah.
weird. I did see that, right? Yeah,
Terry Crews called out, "Where's Mother 3?" Like Terry Crews himself said that. It's crazy.
right. But yeah, man, I would love to be a fly on the wall in whatever meetings are held to decide what the next drop of NES and SNES Online games is going to be, because there seems to be no rhyme or reason to it, and it's just weird. Like some of these games are so obscure, and then again, I mean, there is at least a cool element to this. Again, the NES game we got is actually a Famicom game, Ninja Jadamaru-kun. Although, if I remember correctly, that might have been released also on the Wii or Wii U eShop.
Listen, it is
like-
Wednesday, and you should absolutely know that it was released on the Wii eShop. Come on.
Yeah. So I do. I know the Wii eShop had that promotion where they were doing Japan exclusive games every so often, and I think that might have been one of them. So
It's literally in the Wii Shop Wednesday song.
Oh, nice. Now, there is actually an interesting little extra part to this story, and this comes from Luigi Blood on Twitter, and that pertains to Magical Drop 2, and apparently it's the official US version, which, according to Luigi Blood, was never released, and they don't mean the new release that's based on the fan translation. The title screen is apparently completely different from any version of this game that has been released, and I looked into this a bit more, and they eventually learned that the English logo in this release was the official arcade logo, which suggests that Data East, the developer, had this completed back then, had this build completed back then, and Nintendo just never released it. So it's kind of a weird situation.
I mean, that's
with
cool.
Magical Drop 2. It
That's
is cool.
like the
actually.
silver lining with all these weird titles that
Yeah.
are coming out, because some of them are games that we just never seen stateside or just haven't seen the light of day at all in this particular case. And that's just really cool. Just as far as gaming history and preserving some of these games, even
Yeah.
if they never did actually officially release here in stateside.
Yeah,
Mhm.
see,
Right.
I would trade the classics that I want for the games we never got, because I can go back and
100%.
play Chrono
Sure.
Trigger, but I've never seen these games, and that is dope. I love that. Yeah,
Play Chrono Trigger.
yeah, and I was gonna say earlier, I'm like,
I
what
don't
are
want it
the
on the Switch
odds?
Online. I just want Chrono Trigger on Twitch.
Uh-huh.
You know what? Like Square
Chrono
Enix,
Trigger Online.
just sell me the goddamn ROM of Chrono Trigger. I don't care if you do
Yeah.
nothing to it. Charge
The ROM
$25.
could be the NFT in this case. You just buy.
Yeah,
There you go.
Oh, you're gonna get it for $24.99, Steve, and we're gonna get it. We're gonna love it.
Yeah, I know.
I'd buy it.
I've said
Yeah.
it a million times. You put Chrono Trigger on the eShop, I'll buy it at any price. All right.
And then Chrono Trigger amiibo to follow it.
Oh my god! If I got a Chrono Trigger amiibo, I'd own 3 of them shits for no good
Oh.
reason. Like 1 to sit on the shelf, and 2 to keep in the
Yeah.
package, just in case one package gets dinged.
If they ever did Chrono Trigger amiibo, I mean, it would be a problem if they released like one of every character. I would buy whatever they released. Every single Chrono Trigger amiibo I would own.
Yeah,
and
are
it
you
wouldn't
listening,
even matter
Swear?
how many they released. Yeah, seriously.
call
I
him
know
out on
you
Twitter
watch
all
our
the
show.
time.
I mean,
Yeah, yeah.
Hint, hint.
All right.
I know we're
Oh, boy.
gonna get bad dudes on Nintendo Switch Online before we get Chrono Trigger.
I think we already got bad
You
dudes.
bad enough dude to travel back
Did we?
in time in
Did we
1999.
Did we
like, we
get
already
bad
did.
dudes before Chrono Trigger? Did that happen?
I mean, that and any
so.
number of other games. Yeah.
Yeah.
Bad dudes. Like, are you a bad enough dude to save the president? We got before Chrono Trigger.
Hold on, double checking.
Well, I
Let's
need to
have a
know this.
burger.
I need to know this before we move on. I emotionally can't
Uh-huh.
move on before we find this out.
Well, we also got like the likes of Renegade before Chrono Trigger.
Oh.
That's
Just,
true.
You know,
Yeah.
yeah, so many other weird games.
River City
Um,
Ransom before River City Ransom. In that case, yeah.
Mhm.
I don't know.
well,
Very
while
baffling
Derek's-
choices.
I'm gonna get a fountain pen and write a strongly worded letter to Doug Bowser if I find out that Bad Dudes is on Switch Online.
I don't think it's on Switch Online, but it is part of the Johnny Turbo's arcade thing.
Whew.
It is part
Man.
of that. I know. Yeah.
If that ever
Yeah.
happens, if we get one of these updates and like that chipper ass Nintendo announcer is like Bad Dudes is coming to Switch on, that's it. I'm driving
Are
to
you a
Washington.
bad enough dude?
I can't remember. Is River City Ransom already on Switch Online? Because that's all.
It's
similarly.
think so.
It's on that
outrageous.
collection, like along with Renegade and like all the other was it Technos Japan games? So yeah.
Yeah,
It should be,
112
though,
in the
right?
chat
River
is
City
saying that
Ransom
River
is,
City
or-
Ransom is there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, I was thinking not River City Ransom. I'm sorry, that would not be egregious. That's a great game or a good game. I was thinking Urban Champion. My bad.
Oh, Urban.
Oh.
Is Urban Champion already on? Because like that would
I
be equally
don't
egregious
know.
if it was. Yeah.
Wait for next month.
Yeah.
Right.
No,
yeah,
2 months from
exactly.
now.
Wait for next month.
2
yeah.
months from now. Yeah.
Well, before we move on, we have another donation from the Fa54 with a I think it's Peruvian Soul donation. I hope I got that right. Saying, still feels weird that sorry, hang on. I'm having a bit of technical issue over here.
I'll read it. I see it. It still feels weird that the
Okay.
only old Fire Emblem game that got a localization was only a limited release. Yeah, that's pretty strange. I don't get it.
It is
but
really weird. Yeah, right. But yes, thank you, the Fa54, for your donation, and I hope I got that currency correct. But thank you so much for that. With that said, 112 in the live audience chat, your time has come. Let's go ahead and get the next story up on screen.
He's out of joys that you're looking
And-
for.
Yeah. So, Limited Run Games has announced that Mega Man: The Wily Wars is going to, for the first time ever, be available in a physical cartridge in North America. So, over 25 years after this game was originally released, we are finally getting it in a physical SEGA Genesis cartridge here in the States. And this is actually being produced by Retrobit Gaming. And this actually, includes quite a bit. Like, you have 2 versions of the game. You have the original NTSC-J version, as well as Retrobit Publishing's version, which eliminates like a bunch of slowdown, kind of like what we saw in the SEGA Genesis mini release of the game. There are like lenticular cards, there's an interchangeable outer sleeve, full color instruction manual, a blue cartridge, double-sided poster, sticker book, collector's cards. There's a lot of stuff in this package, and it's $69.99. Pre-orders open tomorrow, I believe, at 7 a.m. Pacific. So, obviously, all you hardcore Mega Man fans out there who want to own the Wily Wars physically, it's finally happening. And now, I'm not trying to cut you off, Steve. I know what you're going to say. The game itself, not
Who
not the best.
cares?
The
Wily
NES
Wars.
versions, the NES versions of all 3 games are definitely better. There's no
Yes.
doubt about it. But if you are a Mega Man, like a Mega Man enthusiast, these do occupy a really interesting place in Mega Man's history that have been, it's been kind of mostly locked out of for U.S. players other than the Sega Genesis Mini, which didn't come out all that long ago. So this is
Right.
cool if you're a diehard fan, but I think for everybody else,
hold the phone. Hold the phone. This is far from the first time this has appeared on a cartridge. This appeared on a cartridge at my local game store 10 years ago. Like, let's not ignore the fact that people...
release though?
No, but
Wasn't
I mean,
official.
Right.
my point is, it's not the first time it's on a cartridge. eBay begs to differ.
Officially, I mean. It is an official release. That's what I mean. Of course,
Yeah, no, I get that it was a bootleg. I totally get that it was a bootleg.
You bought the Wily Wars. It wasn't the Wily Wars. You got the Wily Wars.
Yeah, I got one Wily War on that cart. But like you said, the Genesis Mini is here. It's on there.
Exactly.
They're objectively inferior versions of the games. I'm not going to relitigate all that. I know you agree, Ash. But, I mean, like, I'm excited for Mega Man fans to have, like, a Capcom-sanctioned version of it on a cart, but we can't ignore the fact it's not the first time. It's not the first time.
First time.
But you could say the same thing, I guess, if Mother 3 ever does come out here, you know.
Oh, I will. I will absolutely be the one shouting who cares about that as well. Like, trust me.
Fair enough.
Like, I can go down to, like, my local mom and pop game store and buy a bootleg ass Mother 3 right now if I'm really that impatient. The only reason
I gotta find the store that you're talking about.
Oh, dude, hold. I showed these off months ago, but I also have, like, a Sonic game and like a weird Metal Gear Russian game that are just like ROM hacks of other worse games. But I was going to do a video on them and then I played them and I'm like, no, this is not worth anyone's time. But
at least do like a video on like your like experience with them at least.
If people probably would want to watch me suffer through those.
I would watch that.
I thought we were friends.
No, wait. I hope you're not. I assume you're not equating. I assume you're not equating Mega Man: The Wily Wars to shitty ROM.
No. I'm not. But I'm saying the process of bringing them to market is exactly the same, right?
Right.
And that's the thing. Like, if I really, really, really wanted these games, I could have obtained them physically a long time ago for $10. And I don't love limited run, ignoring that. Like, I get it, but, and also I just love to see it come straight from Capcom. I don't know.
Yeah.
But it's cool. It's cool for
I will
fans.
say limited run games for me, I don't really buy a lot of their stuff just because I just, I'm getting to the point in my life where I don't feel the need to own everything physically, and their prices are a bit high, in my opinion. I love what they do, and I'm glad they're preserving games in the way they are. It's just not necessarily for me, but I do have to say that as LRG is concerned, I'm pretty impressed by everything they're including in this package for the price, for $70 essentially. There's a lot of just little bonus items that you're getting, and it's more than I would have expected. I mean, they probably could have released just the cart and charged that much for it, and diehard Mega Man fans, or a lot of them, probably would have still bought it. So it is cool that they're doing all this extra stuff for it. But, personally, I'm fine having the digital version on my Sega Genesis Mini. I already have so much stuff, right?
And Mega Man specifically for you.
Mega Man specifically for me. As cool as this is, I don't, know if I actually need to own it. I have it now in the Genesis Mini. Now, if we didn't have a Genesis Mini and that had never happened, then I probably would be picking this up. And I might still.
Yeah, there's a big argument to be made about having it available in an accessible fashion.
Right.
And honestly, going back to it, and I swear, Mega Man fans, I'm not trying to shit too much on your enjoyment, but I would much rather, if I wanted the Wily Wars, I would pick it up on the Genesis Mini 10 times out of 10, because at least that has HDMI. I can plug it into my TV without much hassle.
That's the one thing I would offer up to this, because, we obviously got Castlevania Bloodlines re-released finally after all these years, thanks to the Castlevania Anniversary Collection. Right. Before that, I had to buy an actual cart in order to stream that for that whole streaming series. And I'll tell you right now, it looks way better on the Switch, and I think that's kind of where Steve is coming from, because you are getting called out by All Doodle in the patron chat. Steve.
Oh, I saw that. There's a blasphemer in our
Switch. I mean, I can just play it on the SNES, and I think that's the big difference here. I don't think anybody's asking for the original cart of Mother 3. I think they're asking for basically what Wily Wars was.
I want I
Let's make it
want
available.
Chrono Trigger on the Switch because it's my platform of choice at the moment, right? Like, I just want it on a modern platform that I use frequently.
Well, also the best game of all time should be on every platform, period, anyway. But that's neither here nor there.
Definitely.
That
Yes.
as well. Yeah,
Yes.
if you announce to me that you're putting all my favorite games out on modern platforms, I'm not going to complain. I'm just going to buy them. Chrono Trigger is on
my
PC.
money.
I absolutely I own it on PC, but my PC doesn't get thrown in my bag when I travel. So, I prefer to have the ability to do it that way. There's a whole lot of arguments I could make. I shouldn't have to argue for Chrono Trigger to be on anything. Put Chrono Trigger on calculators. I don't give a fuck.
Right.
I got a little screen right there. I'll put Chrono
TI
Trigger on that.
graphic calculator.
It's funny. I just realized I think 3 of the 4 of us today on this show have the same favorite game of all time, right? Being Chrono Trigger.
Chrono Trigger is definitely up there for me. My favorite game of all time fluctuates day to day, but it's top 3
Fair
for
enough.
sure.
Okay. Gotcha. Okay, so almost 3 of us,
rotation.
maybe like 2.5 of us. Yeah.
It depends. It depends on how I'm feeling that day. Right now, Chrono Trigger is my favorite game of all time.
Yes.
Right.
One of us. One of us.
Yu Narukami in the patron chat says, now we need Mega Man and Bass released on the SNES in America. Game isn't that great, but it would be cool. I agree. That would be a pretty cool thing to get via SNES Online, just because, we got it, the GBA version here, but the GBA
You do not want to deal with the screen crunch in that game.
No, you don't. Then that game already has design issues that make it harder than it should be. And
For horror stories,
yeah, exactly. Then make the screen size smaller. It just exacerbates them even more. So, but that would be really cool to get if we ever did, someday. But before we move on, we have another super chat, of course, from 112 saying $3 for 3 remade games. # Mega Man Forever. Hell yeah, man. # Mega Man Forever all the way. So,
there's also Zaire Miller with $4.99.
You got it.
Yeah, $4.99 donation says, fun fact about Nintendo Vault. The collection of Mana is a Switch exclusive because Square Enix got the Trials of Mana ROM from Nintendo.
I have never heard about that.
Nor had I.
Interesting.
Yeah, I did not hear about that either. They put
really
a
cool.
little bit of a link here. Let me see if I can actually use it. Oh, it's from E3 2019 thing. It's just from Game Informer talking about it.
Oh, that's so cool. Well,
there
thank
you
you
go.
for that little fun fact, Zaire Miller, and for the donation. Thank you very much. But man, this has been a lengthy, spirited show. Oh, go ahead.
Real quick, Brady Power in the chat says, Steve convinced me to buy Chrono Trigger and I'll buy it. Hang on for the post show. I'm about to monologue your ass about Chrono Trigger. So
my God.
I'll see you in the post show.
Man.
Oh, yeah. Trio log, really, if you.
There we go. Yeah,
exactly.
trio
All
log.
3 of us will. Yeah. And I think it was Rob Arman X who up above in the patron chat. Oh yeah, wants to know how much they need to up their pledge to see you suffer on stream, Steve.
I mean, listen, I love the GV gang, and I'll just suffer for you for free.
Nice.
I mean, so if it depends on the specific flavor of suffering that you would like me to endure. But it can be discussed. A fee can be settled upon depending. Like if you're going to tell me that I need to lay on a bed of nails or light myself on fire, then please no. But if you're going to tell me I need to watch The Room, then all right.
Right. Okay, well, this has been a long and winding show. Lots of great discussions, lots of detours, Sonic 2 crazy news coming out, in halfway through the show. But we have one more news story to wrap things up with, so let's go ahead and get that up on screen. And that is that the formerly Stadia-exclusive Super Bomberman R Online is going to launch on May 27th for Switch, PS4, and PC, and it's going to be coming to Xbox One later. They're also adding a bunch of new stuff to the game. There's going to be a battle pass system and in-game seasons. And Season 1, actually, is going to be headlined by the old Snake Bomber. And
nice.
This is really cool. I mean, Bomberman's awesome, right? We all have our issues with, the current state of Konami, but as cool as this is, it makes me really sad to see that, the only form we're really seeing Snake in right now is old Snake Bomber. And that just makes me think of the quote from MGS4. Snake had a hard life. This is how it's all turned out for Snake. This is just
The Bomberman character or a pachinko machine, whatever it may be.
Exactly, right? No hate on Bomberman. This actually looks really cool. Super Bomberman R was actually a lot of fun and was supported post-launch by Konami for a long time and got a lot of cool new stuff added to it.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Other Konami characters too, I believe, right?
a lot like
Yeah.
Pyramid Head
Yeah.
and
Alucard, I believe.
Alucard,
Yeah.
Jehudi from Zone of the Enders. So really cool stuff. And I
Contra
think
guy.
this is a free-to-play version of the game.
Yeah.
And so it's going to be, of course, kind of like there will be premium currency with which you can, buy new in-game costumes and stuff, and you can buy that in-game currency with real currency. But of course, you can, earn the in-game currency through just playing the game as well. But, more Bomberman, I think, is pretty much always a good thing.
I hope that we still have the massively multiplayer online games that Bomberman R had on Stadia.
Yeah, it's 60. I'm watching the trailer right now. 64 player
Nice.
battle royale.
They are.
We are.
doing
We
that.
are.
They have
streaming that.
customizable bombs. They have customizable, Bombermen. They have all the characters from those releases, like Simon and whatnot that you guys were talking about. So it's all pretty much in there, just online in massive battles, which is pretty cool.
I'm down.
Sounds like kind of the closest thing to like a new Saturn Bomberman almost.
Yeah, if it is free to play and open and you can get private matches, that'd be a great one for the something to play with patrons.
Yep.
Right.
That has monthly
really funny
patron
about-
stream written all over it.
It does. Yeah, actually it does. What's really funny about this is if you watch the trailer, one of the things it says is, come out on top to become the Bomber 1. Did they literally crib that? Literally crib that straight from Pac-Man 99? Like, 'cause, when you win that, you're called the Pac-1. And now Konami's saying in this, become the Bomber 1. Is that just...
I mean, why can't they go back to the
egregious
90s
example
and
of
say you're the bomb? Like, why can't
Yeah,
they
there you
do
go.
that?
Yeah, right? I just
man.
found that so funny. Like, did they just look at Pac-Man 99 and say, yeah, we're cribbing that idea?
Probably.
Almost
I
certainly.
guess.
Like
Yeah.
just an underpaid intern. He's like, I only got the job here because I wanted to work with Kojima. And they're like, quick,
Yeah.
write a tagline for Super Bomberman. He's like, no.
Winner, winner, bomber dinner.
Oh God.
So, hey, yeah, like I said, more Bomberman's always a good thing, but of course, there's so much else that I know we all wish Konami was also doing.
Like Wario
you know,
Blast.
Yeah, obviously. We do have a couple more Super Chat donations. First one is by Rotten Tanuki again. You've been so generous. Thank you, Rotten
Thank
Tanuki.
you.
Another $5 saying, can you imagine what would happen to the internet if Akira Toriyama and the people who made Dragon Quest XI remade Chrono Trigger? Dude,
I've been saying that
this
for
is
years
something-
now.
Yep. This is something that we have all specifically talked about.
I would
and
destroy the internet
that would be-
myself.
Yeah.
I'll grab a baseball
Right.
bat, destroy the internet with my own hands.
Yeah.
I mean, I
That
think we
would
talked
be the
about this like
dream.
last time I was on though, but like remember like when the creator of Owlboy came out with a fake trailer for a Chrono
Right.
Break game.
Right.
basically,
Oh, yeah.
or, like his version of Chrono Break, and I mean that would be incredible. Like especially by the way it looks. It's the creator of Owlboy, and he makes like amazing like pixel art and all that stuff, amazing games and stuff. But yeah, I mean anything Chrono. I mean just please just bring this franchise back in some way, please.
Yeah,
Mhm.
All I
and
ask.
and I told Derek many times while I was playing through Dragon Quest XI-S that it reminded me of Chrono Trigger in many ways. Obviously, the art style being Toriyama as well, but just the whole vibe of the game. I do think that Dragon Quest XI's visual style does lend itself naturally to Chrono Trigger's style, and it would make sense to remake the game in that style.
It makes too much sense.
Mhm.
I
It
want
really
that
does.
so bad.
Yeah. Yeah.
Someday, hopefully.
Hopefully. We also have a $4.99 donation from Sketcha MPM. No message, but
Oh, no,
thank you for
there's
the
a message. They
donation.
just messed it up. It was right below.
Oh.
They said, I just want to say that Bomberman 64 is a top 3 N64 multiplayer
Hell
title.
yes.
People busted it out at my last party before lockdown, and we were laughing until the AM hours. That is the truth.
Absolutely
Another point
true.
for
Yep.
N64, by the way, to go back. Full
Yeah.
circle.
I will
don't
say,
love
even
that.
that is a Bomberman 64 has a full blown adventure mode too. That's like
Yep.
a 3D platformer. It's pretty awesome.
It's really
I was gonna
fun,
mention
honestly.
that.
I remember playing that. Yeah.
Yeah, Bomberman 64's single player campaign is actually really good and has some sick music too. Like Bomberman 64 is a great game.
Yeah, one of my
Straight-
most
straight up across the board.
beloved
Available on Wii U.
N64 games. Yep.
Mm.
I
Oh,
actually
it
am
is, that's
working
right.
on.
Dig out your Wii U's.
I'm working on my
Yeah.
final patron review, and it's a Wii U game, so I've had to dig out the Wii U for that. And
Nice.
I didn't know Bomberman 64 was available, so I guess I'm going to be buying that soon.
There you go.
Nice.
Sweet deal.
All right. Well, that, after all of this stuff, finally does bring us to the end of the show for today. So thank you all for here joining us for the news and for the show. But before we head out, of course, David, please let all of our incredible patrons and our public audience know where on the internet they can find you, man.
Sure. Yeah. So you can find me on Twitter and Instagram at The Guilty Man. That's DAGILTYMAN. So that's on Twitter and on Instagram. And also you could check out my newly rebranded website, which I kind of played around with, just kind of make it more focused on my voiceover career, since I'm doing more voiceover stuff these days, which is davidsaysthat.com.
Nice. Awesome. Well, dude, thank you again for joining us today, and we would love to have you back again anytime.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a pleasure. Always like to speak with you guys and hang out and talk Chrono Trigger, of course.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
Of course. We have to wrench it in there one way or the other.
Exactly. But of course, we have to give, well, we thank all of you for being here, but we have to give a special thank you to all of our patrons at the producer tier and above for helping to make today's News Tonight happen, because without your support, it would not be happening. So thank you so much from the bottom of all our hearts. But of course, an extra special thank you to all of our patrons at the executive producer tier and above. And those awesome, wonderful, fine folks include Jared Edinger, Brandon Bovia, Rob Arman X, Etiano Ben, Dan and Twistle, Dennis J, Z Patty, Hyrule Hermit, Sky Blue Flames, Adam O'Sullivan, It's ATM, Octopuppet, Richard Herrera, Michael Phone, Aiko Carroll, The D-Pad, Vesmio, Waffle King, Kitty Kong Fax, Angel Martinez, Vedran Hotik, 112, Macalau, John, Joshua Hunter, Evernight Studio, Benny Yao, Emerald, Azran127, Kinrule09, Jake Pelka, Geller, Joseph Rutkin, Titus Malvolio, Charlie Bird, Geeky Griffin, Lucky Wonderfish, Top Dog 23100, Young Ben Kenobi, Doug Shomix, Andrew Medeiros, Orem M, Sakuragi, Becca, Rocks the Cat, Fizzywig Hoyd, Critmonger, The Legend of Groose, Eddie B, Kai Ed, Kit Fisto, West Egg, Master Lynx, Deaneth, Kota, Michael McCaw, Matthew Wong, Goron Amber, Straight Lace, Hoobie, Wolf X Blake, Moon Macarons, Ascaron 809, Kane, Captain Finlandia, 60 Minutes and 60 Seconds, The Game Orb, Dano the Artist, Ravelox, Synchrolord, Brainchild, Rosa Pardo Bowling,
Hi,
Kotar
Mom.
Peck. Oh, sorry, yeah. Kotar Peck, Scuff 196, Skull Kid Tiger, AJB Cool, Blizzica, Jason Uloa, Jaden Buck, Phantom Project, Wheezy Penguin, Darik, Stephen Nelson, Ray Clausen Jr., Nathan the Voice Actor, and Spicy Pandaughter. Thank you all so much for your incredible support. And if you are interested in finding out more about how you can support us at Good Vibes Gaming, head on over to Patreon at patreon.com/gvgaming and check out all of our tiers. We actually just recently refreshed our Patreon and introduced a bunch of new perks at a lot of tiers, introduced a brand new tier itself. So go check us out there. But even if you can't support us on Patreon, if you just support us here on YouTube and drop a like and a subscribe, it would mean the world to us. Every like, every subscription really does help us that little bit. So we appreciate all of you. Thank you so much. And we will see you on Friday for the next episode of Today's News Tonight. Until then, everybody, good night and good vibes.
Cheers, y'all.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, everyone.